Gonna need y'all to bear with me here. This is my first longer form video for YouTube. I'm gonna be reading the Oracle cards and runes. If you don't know me, I'm Ronan. My business is Dark Path Guide. I do shamanic healing, rune readings, and if you need it, magic. Let's get down with the collective today, see what they need to hear. We're gonna take a look at the next 4 seasons moving forward. So we're in winter. It'll be spring, summer, fall, winter again. I work primarily with Freya and the Norns for readings, so if you hear something coming from me, it is likely connected to that current. Sometimes I get very specific stuff from them, like channels, but today should just be the cards and friends. Spring, that's ironic. Summer, fall, winter. Interesting set of 4 cards here. A lot of seasons coming out that are misplaced on their season. Winter is the first card out for spring. This is indicating that there's going to be kind of a still period for the collective in this spring. It's that period before life opens up. Fire supports that in the summer. I'm getting an explosion almost, like before summer, this icy stillness, imagine over a lake, and then just a big explosion breaks through the ice and lights everything on fire all around. Spring is in the fall, as if that's not confusing enough. And with spring, we have the actual blossoming, the actual beginning. Summer is going to be that breakthrough of stillness. Spring is where everything opens up and gets into motion. Fall, we have flight, as in take flight. Fall is when things are really going to be, I don't want to say coasting because I'm still sensing an upwards trajectory in the energy. But when the momentum has really picked up and one thing is going into the next, into the next, into the next, and it will feel like you have to invest less momentum breaking energy and just ride the momentum forward. Let's draw the runes, cast the runes, and see what energies are going to accompany these. You want it out. More for winter. 3 for summer. 3 for fall. For spring, fall. Sprawl, if you will. And 3 for next winter. Winter 2026 into 2027. We have Otala, Uruz, and Sowillo for this upcoming spring aligned with the winter card. Otala and Uruz, what you inherit is what's going to be manifesting in this time. This is the cause for the stillness. This is why things seem stagnant, because you've inherited some bad patterns, not necessarily from your parents, but from your environment, from the world around you, from your traumas, from your shadows, and those are causing the stillness to manifest. Tapping into the energy of Sowillo, of the sun, solar energy, brightening energy, warming energy, burning energy, is the key to breaking through that this coming spring. Summer. Yeah, that makes sense. We have Ewaz, the rune of partnerships, Raidho, the rune of journeys, and Algiz, the rune of divine connection. That coming with the breakthrough energy of fire in the spring, or the summer, that should make sense. We've got this sort of divine partnership energy surrounded And not necessarily, I don't mean divine partnership necessarily as romantic, as in a partnership that is divinely ordained. It could be a romantic relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be a relationship that you have with a spirit guide or your holy guardian angel. But this connection is going to facilitate your connection to the divine, which is going to facilitate your breakthrough in the summer. Fall. Ooh, we got the 25th rune in the fall. Gnosis. That's not the actual meaning. For those who know the actual meanings of the runes, the 25th rune has no assigned meaning. It is the rune that Odin discovered when he mastered all of the runes. It therefore represents Gnosis when I do readings. Gnosis, the weird or fate, and conflict with Perthro and Thurisaz. There is a very fated moment, a very fated revelation for you this fall. And it's going to produce a lot of internal conflict. You're going to be moving through this energy of everything opening and expanding in your life, but you need to master that internal conflict or it's going to trip you up. And that conflict is going to come as a direct response to this gnosis that you have, this revelation that you have. It's going to change everything internally. And that's what's going to really cause things to change externally. But because it is a new way of thinking, you are going to have to face some form of cognitive dissonance and decide which side of the fence you stand on. And that leads us into winter 2026/2027. Dagas, that makes sense for coming after Gnosis because Dagas is awakening. Aiwaz, this is Yggdrasil's rune, death and rebirth, reincarnation, life mysteries, initiation. Goes hand in hand with Dagas. Manaz, humankind. This is saying that this flight card, right, the take flight energy that's in the winter with Dagas and Aiwaz, it speaks of an awakening, an initiation, just soaring off into the esoteric wild blue yonder, right? Manaz is here, the rune of mankind, the rune of humankind, to encourage you to keep your feet on the damn ground. I have been through some very heady occult experiences. The reason that I'm here and not on a grippy sock vacation is because I used a lot of grounding work. No matter how high my head got into the heavens, I made sure that my feet were planted on the earth. Likewise, for those of you who have this energy coming in the winter, next winter, and likewise, I'm probably included in that because if I'm reading for the collective, I am probably part of the collective. Let's keep our feet on the ground, right? There's a quote by Aleister Crowley, and whatever you think of him, I'm not a big fan of him as a person. He wrote some pretty profound things, and one of those was to have your head in the highest heavens and your feet in the lowest hells. Very loosely paraphrased. The idea is that no matter how high up you reach, you need to reach equally down low, or you are imbalanced. And imbalance is what leads to not fun times. That's the energy of the four seasons, the cards and the runes. Let's get some guidance to see what leads you. This has been on the bottom of the deck for like the last three readings that I have done, the Holy Gate. It is, the tagline of the card is the doors of pure happiness will soon be opened. It's a threshold card. It is a card of moving past an initiation, a revelation, gnosis, into a new reality. It is not the beginning of the lead up to that. That's the threshold card, which is number one in this deck. This is the last card in this deck. It is the end of a cycle that brings you into something better. So that's on the bottom of the deck right now. Let's draw three cards to see what we need to do to move forward. Mm, that's a tough one. Gift in the reverse, quest in the reverse, rest in the upright. What does that mean? You in this collective have a lot of gifts. You clearly, whoever I'm reading for, clearly has a strong connection with the divine. The reverse of gifts, the reverse of quest, is asking you, combined with rest, is asking you to not take it so damn seriously. This ties into that manaz energy. This is an energy of don't just be grinding away. Don't just set your eyes on the horizon and walk until your feet are bloody. This is trust the process. Yes, you have a gift, but you don't need to be aggressively using it at every opportunity. Yes, you have a quest, but you don't need to be pursuing it until your breath is ragged and you're run down. You need rest. That is the way forward right now, is rest. Because if things are going to be still, right, in the spring, if we have that winter card coming out, there's nothing you can do about it aside look internally. You got the Otala and the Urus manifesting this inheritance into your life that's keeping things still. So Willow will come so long as, you're doing a little bit of shadow work and journaling about it and doing your meditations. You don't need to drive forward so damn hard. You really don't. That's, I'm not a manifesting girly, but the concepts of manifestation are sound. To receive from the universe, you actually have to be in a position to receive. If you are constantly pushing energy out into the universe, there's no channel for it to come back in. You just have to let go. And that's what this is saying, is let go. Let your guides, let the universe provide for you. The steps will be clear. That Suelo energy is coming whether you like it or not. And sometimes Suelo energy can be a lot. So it might be, you like it not. But for now, rest and let what you have put out manifest, because it's going to return more abundance than you can possibly imagine. It's going to return the right abundance for you. Let's get the runes to go with it. Maybe get a little more specific. That's just confirming. That's an interesting one to pair with rest. Paired with GIF, we have Lagus, the subconscious. This is definitely tying into like psychic, magical gifts that people in this collective seem to have. You got to train them, you got to develop them, but don't burn yourself out. Ingus, seeds. This is tying into that inheritance manifestation energy with Quest in the reverse. You feel like you might feel like you have a ton of karma to burn. But by the act of like trying to burn it super hard and get rid of it and move on, you're making it more difficult. You're acting like the load is heavier than it actually is. Ingus is saying the seeds have been planted and it's just time to let them grow. Hagalaz comes with rest. Hagalaz is the rune of disaster. It is the tower card of the runes. With rest, this is saying if you don't rest, if you don't take taking care of yourself seriously, there will be a crisis. This Hagalaz rune is kind of, it feels floaty. It feels, so you have material reality and then you have the astral, where, all the things form first before they manifest here. It's not getting to manifestation of magic theory, but just go with that explanation for now. Hagalaz is kind of floating up in the astral. Your energy, your Haminya, to use my tradition's terms, your aura is pushing it off. Hagalaz is there, waiting to be an unfortunate lesson if you don't rest. Because the way you keep that barrier up, the way you keep yourself protected is by staying strong. And you can't stay strong if you don't rest. I'm a bit of a gym rat, right? If I'm lifting every single frickin' day and just maxing out and going hard, eventually I'm going to snap a tendon and get an injury. The same thing applies spiritually. If you are training every single day, because, spirituality does require a type of training. If you are diving into your occult studies and not giving yourself a break, if you are just doggedly pursuing this sacred path that you have, because let's be honest, if you have a sacred path, you're going to want to pursue it. But if you're not taking that time for yourself to Play video games, have a beer with your friends, play D&D. I'm a giant nerd if you can't tell. Uh, just to relax. Hagalaz is going to make itself known and just plop right into your life. It's there's a saying. It's something like slow down before your body makes you slow down. That applies to your spirit as well, to your emotions. Don't let yourself be forced to slow down. Slow down when necessary. I would recommend, if you are deep in the occult practices, picking a day where you do nothing at all. And if you're a stubborn Virgo like me, maybe keeping it to a minimum, you know. If you've got a daily practice of the LBRP or something, that's cool. Do that. But don't spend 2 hours meditating that day. Don't do all those things that are meant to take you deeper. Spend a day to just maintain, or if you can stomach it, take the day completely off. That's the advice that's coming from this rune, and it feels really important for this collective. Because this collective feels driven. It feels very magical too. Like it's got this divine connection and manifestation waiting for it. And its biggest risk for not receiving that is just burning itself out before it comes in. Let's take a look at blockages. Let's tap into that Uruzotala energy and see what those inherited blockages are to give you an idea of the shadow work you might need to do this as we pass through winter into spring. And an interesting set of blockages. Pygalaz wants to stay out, reminding you that if you don't rest, it's going to come crashing down. In the Hamingya, in the aura, we have Berkano, the mother rune. This has been so relevant for the collective, this energy of the mother wound, the wound of not receiving enough, of not being cared for, of not being nurtured. A lot of us feel very resistant to letting people take care of us. That's really in your aura right now, and it's manifesting around you. And you just the only way through it is to let people take care of you. That's really it. There's no, yeah, just alchemize this thing, and then you can take care of yourself. No, you have to let people take care of you and continue doing that because we are supposed to be an interconnected community. We are not supposed to be lone islands, not at all. In your mind, you have algaes. This is telling me of a very strong mental connection to the divine. This is not a blockage. This is a boon. You have your head wrapped around the occult, around whatever mystery you're studying. You don't need to put much more energy in there. It's already there. Algaes, that divine connection already pervades your mind, and that's a good thing. That's something to draw on. I was death and rebirth in the center of emotions. This speaks of finishing letting things go. Friends, family, past circumstances that are fading from your life and you're still holding on to. It's time to soften that grip and let it slip away. Kenaz in the center of power. Does your torch feel dim? Does the light that you carry against the darkness feel like it's just not enough? The reason it's running out, and I'm pretty certain y'all know what I'm about to say, is because you're running out of oil. You're not resting enough. You can't express power in a fatigued state. Rest, and your torch will brighten. That is it for this message for the collective. I do personal readings. You can book me through the link in my profile. I'm also on TikTok. I go live on there fairly often. I'm going to be trying to go live on here as well. I do shamanic healing. I do rune readings. And I sling a little magic when people ask nicely enough and need it. But regardless of whether or not you book me, regardless of whether or not you come back for the free readings that I give away in my lives or not, as always, I'm not looking to draw you onto my path. I just want to help you find yours.